It seems like I say this every college football offseason, but the transfer portal is truly the craziest we've ever seen it. It's only early December and a number of really big names have already decided to enter the transfer portal. There are a number of players that are going to make massive impacts at their new schools in 2024. We're going to be talking about a lot of those players today, but we're going to be sticking to the quarterback position because there are so many different players that we really got to discuss. The transfer portal added a couple of pretty big names today. The first is Oklahoma quarterback Dillon Gabriel. Here's what he posted to his social media. The past 2 years here at Oklahoma as a Sooner, I have made memories with friends and family that remind me how blessed I am. I've been able to play football for an amazing group of coaches and alongside men who have become my brothers. More than anything, I have grown in faith and love. I appreciate and cherish these memories and relationships forever. My time in the Palace was a game-time experience I will never forget. Sooner Nation, you held me accountable and I am better for it. Coach BV, my coaches, and the football staff, I am grateful for your care, knowledge, and insight. Most of all, thanks for your faith in me and the opportunity to lead and be a member of Oklahoma's Team 128 and 129. This was a pretty interesting move considering Dillon Gabriel has been fantastic at Oklahoma these last 2 seasons. Oklahoma was also really good this year, so it is surprising to see him enter the portal and potentially end up at another program. This past season for the Sooners, he completed a very nice 69% of his passes. He threw for just under 3,700 yards with 30 passing touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. He also added 400 yards on the ground with 12 rushing scores as well. So whatever program he ends up at, they're going to be getting one of the more experienced quarterbacks in all of college football. It's early, but I've already seen him rumored to end up at either Mississippi State or potentially Oregon. Another surprising addition to the transfer portal came this morning in Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord. Here's what he posted on social media. I'm extremely thankful for my time at Ohio State. Playing in the scarlet and gray was truly an honor. I'm grateful for all the lifelong relationships I've made along the way here in Columbus. My teammates, my brothers, I'm appreciative for each and every one of you. Thank you to Coach Day, Coach Dennis, Coach Fitch, and the rest of the staff and support team. Buckeye Nation, your passion is what makes playing in Columbus special. With that being said, I've decided to enter the transfer portal to explore other opportunities. In his first season as the starting quarterback for Ohio State, McCord completed 66% of his passes. He threw for 3,200 yards with 24 passing touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. But having watched a number of Ohio State games, I thought he was overall just an okay quarterback. I think a lot of his production was largely due to Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I'm not exactly certain who Ohio State's quarterback is going to be next season, but maybe he thought he didn't have the job locked up. Because outside of that, I don't see why he would leave probably the best situation he's going to find himself in. Still, this is another massive name in the transfer portal that another team I'm sure is going to be all over. Those are some of the big ones today, but let's take a look at the other quarterbacks who have already entered the transfer portal. One of the bigger ones is Washington State quarterback Cameron Ward. He's been fantastic for the Cougars these past 2 seasons. This past year, he completed 66% of his passes, throwing for over 3,700 yards. He also had 25 passing touchdowns with only 7 interceptions. He also added 8 touchdowns on the ground as well. Ever since he transferred to Washington State in 2022, he's been one of the better quarterbacks in all of college football. These last 2 seasons, he's thrown for 7,000 yards with 48 passing touchdowns and 13 touchdowns on the ground. He's reportedly getting a lot of buzz already, as there's already up to 10 teams that are reportedly willing to offer him more than $1 million to transfer to their program. I know there are also some reports that he might enter the NFL draft, but if he's getting over $1 million to transfer to another program, I think he's going to take that, because I don't think he's going to be that high of an NFL pick. So keep an eye on Cameron Ward as well. After spending 3 seasons at Kansas State, Will Howard finally got his chance to be the full-time starter in 2023. He threw for 2,600 yards with 24 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions. He was also a threat on the ground as he added 350 rushing yards with 9 rushing scores. This one caught me by surprise because he stuck it out at Kansas State for 3 years before finally getting his opportunity. He got his chance and he was fantastic, but I guess he wants another opportunity somewhere else. After a great couple seasons at Duke, Riley Leonard has decided to enter the portal. This past season, injuries cut his season short and he just wasn't the same. He appeared in only 7 games, completing 57% of his passes for 1,100 yards. He only had 3 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He did add 350 yards on the ground and 4 rushing scores while averaging 6 yards a carry. Riley Leonard really jumped onto the scene in 2022, where he emerged as one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC. Last season, he threw for 3,000 yards with 20 passing touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. He also rushed for 700 yards and 13 rushing scores. I've been seeing a lot of rumors saying that he's probably going to end up in Notre Dame. That would be really interesting, as that would make Notre Dame's 4th different starting quarterback over the last 3 seasons. DJ Uiagalelei is going to be in the transfer portal after a fantastic season with Oregon State. In his first season with the Beavers, he threw for over 2,600 yards with 21 passing touchdowns. He also had only 7 interceptions as well. On the ground, he ran for over 200 yards with 6 rushing scores as well. It's funny because it seems like he had a much better season with the Beavers after leaving Clemson, but his numbers were nearly identical. Actually, when looking at his stats, his numbers were slightly better at Clemson in 2022 than they were in 2023, but I guess the narrative was entirely different, and he had a much better year with the Beavers. Considering the entire coaching staff is looking different and Oregon State is losing a lot of players, it makes sense as to why he'd want to enter the transfer portal. I've seen him rumored to a number of schools, with one of them being Oregon. Just a couple of seasons ago, Tyler Van Dyke was considered one of the best up-and-coming quarterbacks in all of college football. He was already one of the top quarterbacks in the ACC, and he looked like he'd be a potential Heisman candidate. But his career has really gone downhill since that 2021 season. This past season for the Hurricanes, Van Dyke completed 66% of his passes and threw for 2,700 yards. He had 19 passing touchdowns with 12 interceptions. Overall though, like I said, his past 2 seasons just have been very underwhelming. Back in 2021 when he was a freshman, he threw for 3,000 yards and had 25 touchdowns. But in his 2 seasons since, he has only 29 passing touchdowns and has only 4,500 passing yards. It'll be interesting to see where he goes and to see if he's able to unlock what worked so well for him 2 years ago, because the potential is certainly there, as we've seen it firsthand. We have another pretty experienced quarterback entering the transfer portal in former Mississippi State quarterback Will Rogers. He had quite the career with the Bulldogs, as he threw for over 12,000 yards with 94 passing touchdowns. In 2021 and 2022, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country, but in 2023, he took a major step back. In 8 games, he completed fewer than 60% of his passes. He threw for only 1,600 yards with 12 passing touchdowns. It'll be interesting to see where he goes, because not many quarterbacks in college football can say they have a season under their belt in which they threw for 4,700 yards with 36 passing touchdowns. Grayson McCall apparently still has eligibility, as he's going to enter the transfer portal. He spent 5 seasons with Coastal Carolina where he threw for over 10,000 yards with 88 passing touchdowns. He was one of the better quarterbacks from 2020 through 2022, but he appeared in only 7 games this season and only threw for 1,900 yards with 10 passing touchdowns. Still, he's one of the more experienced quarterbacks in all of college football, so whoever needs a veteran quarterback, this is definitely the guy for them. There are a number of other quarterbacks we can get to, but I'm going to wrap up today's video with a quarterback you probably haven't heard of. That's Oregon State quarterback Aiden Charles. I already talked about one Oregon State quarterback entering the portal, but this morning they had a second. Charles is a former 4-star recruit and was ranked as the number 12 quarterback by 24/7 Sports last year. He played in 4 games before redshirting at Oregon State this year. He completed 24 of 35 passes for 300 yards and 4 passing touchdowns. He also added 80 yards on the ground and 3 rushing scores as well. Although he doesn't have a lot of experience, there's going to be a lot of hype surrounding this guy in the portal. A lot of people are high on him, and they think he could be a potential superstar in college football. According to 24/7 Sports, he's ranked as the number 2 overall player and the number 1 quarterback currently in the transfer portal. It's early, but there's already rumors that he might follow his former head coach to Michigan State, so stay tuned for that. Well, those are some of the big-time quarterback names that are currently in the transfer portal. Like I mentioned, I wasn't able to get to all of them because there are just so many, so I might make a future video talking about the other names that we see appear in the portal. As of right now, who do you think is the biggest name that is currently available in the transfer portal? What program do you think some of these guys should go to? Wherever you think they should end up, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, this is definitely the place for you. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.